back, one of my buddies from the fire department pinned off an old 1858 black powder to me to take a look at and see if I could figure out some problems that he was having with it or just fix it in general. First inspection, I kind of found out that, well, something with the trigger and the hammer weren't working properly. So I went ahead and took it with me. It's probably been a couple months back. Took it all apart and found out that the trigger was broken and the hammer spring was also broken. So there's two small pieces in it that were broken that needed to be replaced. So the problem I was having with it was if you go to pull the hammer back, it would kind of sort of try to lock in one position, but it wouldn't stay. So it was actually just really dangerous. You wouldn't want to ever load it up, put a percussion cap on it, and fire away, because you would have some problems with that. So the other thing is that he originally thought it was blued or reblued. He's not the original owner. He bought it or traded it from somebody else, which is kind of a funny story. Once I got to working on it and going through it, I started having suspicions of who it possibly had belonged to, and as it turned out, my suspicions were correct. It actually belonged to exactly who I thought it did. So I'm going to show you this thing now, how it looks. So as I was getting into it, the first thing I noticed is that it had never been cleaned since it had been fired, period. If you know anything about black powder, that's kind of a big no-no. It took me quite a while to go through and scrub everything. The cylinder, the nipples, the frame, the barrel, everything. The thing was gunked up. You could look in there, and I mean, it was just the fouling and the rust was thick. I was able to get all that out and clean it up real nicely, but while doing that, I also found out that the frame happens to be brass instead of steel. So met up with him, discussed the things on it, ordered the parts, which were all in back order I just recently got, and he decided he would prefer that the frame and everything goes back to brass. So I went through that measure and did my damnedest to get it back to brass, which, I mean, really wasn't too difficult. It was just a pain in my ass, because I'm fairly certain it was actually spray painted with something or some kind of enamel. So that was fun. Anyway, so this is what it looks like now. Let's see if the light can get a little better here. There we go. So it's a pretty neat, pretty nice looking gun for the most part, or black powder pistol, whatever. The one other problem with it, which I don't know if you guys noticed that or not, but see here, that barrel should actually be about that much longer. The guy also went and cut his barrel down because he didn't like the length. So it has no front sight post on it. And the other thing, this is something I'm worried about. This is why I've got this vise out here in the block. I'm going to test fire this thing for him before I return it tonight. I've got to meet up with him at the fire meeting and everything else, but for safety reasons, this is something I noticed. I'm fairly certain the frame itself has actually got a slight bend in it. Okay, so looking at it and just kind of messing around with the cylinder and everything, it looks like it still lines up to the barrel. However, I don't want to do work on something like this and then pass it off and have him go out and fire the thing and have it blow up in his hand. So I told him when I was done with it, I'd put it in a vise and actually do a test fire to make sure it works. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go ahead and get it put in the vise, or load it up, put in the vise, and I'm going to put a string on it because I'm not going to sit up here close to it and fire the thing off. So Yeah, let's get this thing loaded and in the vise. Also, real quick, because I almost forgot. So, here's a photo of what it kind of looked like before I took it back to brass. I didn't actually get a before photo of it or any video of it before I actually took it apart and cleaned it and everything. I didn't think about it at the time. But yeah, check out this photo real quick. Looks a little bit rough, huh? Looks way better now. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, going hot. Okay, we're hot. So I've got a string coming off the trigger and going all the way back there over behind the truck. So string, gun, or black powder. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this camera up here, see what happens. Hopefully it does what it's supposed to. Yeah. Okay, so basically what happened there is I don't think I had enough tension on the hammer. I didn't really drive that tension screw in very far, so I wasn't sure how much pressure should have really been on it. So I just readjusted that. So you could tell, like on the percussion cap, that it hit, but not with enough force. So it's kind of like a soft primer strike if you think about it. Anyway, just tighten that back up and went around again, and boom, she went. Hell yeah. Alright, now I'm confident enough to say that it's safe to fire by hand, so I'm going to load it back up and give it another test fire, and then from there I'll take it with me and get it returned to my buddy, and hopefully he will enjoy it and be able to figure out what he wants to do with the sights on this thing to actually be kind of accurate with it. And if the frame happens to actually be bent, it doesn't seem like it's going to affect at least the novelty of firing and playing around with out there on the range or something. But I will suggest to him that possibly look into getting a new frame or just a whole new gun, depending on and what. Have him take it possibly to an actual competent gunsmith that may possibly be able to fix the frame. But then again, for those of you out there who are BP guys, you may just suggest getting a new one. It may not be worthwhile messing with that. It may just be kind of a neat little wall hanger prop from here on out or something. But anyway, let's try this out.